Prologue, the lesson of fire. They came under banners of superiority, cloaked in arrogance, their fleets a storm of silver fangs across the stars. The Zytheran dominion had ruled for 1,000 years, teaching lesser races discipline through blood. It was not simply conquest, it was pedagogy, or so they claimed. They enslaved species not to annihilate, but to refine them into warriors for their endless wars. When Earth refused to kneel, the Dominion laughed. They would, they said, teach these soft-skinned bipeds the art of killing. The lesson began with cruelty. Colonies burned. Civilian convoys were shattered without warning. Entire villages on Mars were executed before a laughing audience of alien officers who called it instructional slaughter. What the Zytheran failed to grasp was this. Humanity had already learned how to kill, and we had written the book in blood long before the first alien empire even lit its suns. Arrogance of the masters. In the Dominion's war halls, alien generals raised goblets of iron and crystal, toasting to Earth's humiliation. They replayed footage of massacres, mocking the screams of dying families. Humanity, they said, was too civilized to respond with proper savagery. Too fractured, too sentimental, too new to the galactic stage. Teach them terror and they will beg for chains, declared Overlord Krytash, the architect of the campaign. They have never faced true war. They will break quickly like glass struck by steel. Around him, the lords of the Dominion laughed. They had fought dozens of species, crushed empires with fleets of annihilation, and left nothing but ashes in their wake. Humanity, in their eyes, was merely another soft clay to mold into soldiers. They were right about one thing: we would learn, but not in the way they imagined. Silence before the storm. For weeks after the massacres, Earth was silent. No counterattack, no grand declarations of war. The Dominion thought the Terrans had been broken. They mistook patience for weakness. Behind closed doors, however, humanity prepared. Vast shipyards hummed in orbit, constructing vessels whose designs had never been shared with alien eyes. Black-hulled dreadnoughts with armor thicker than mountains. Strike carriers capable of vomiting firestorms across entire star systems. Weapons designed not for intimidation, but extermination. On encrypted channels, admirals spoke in cold, clipped tones. Words were few. Orders were precise. Entire fleets were mobilized without fanfare, entire armies equipped without ceremony. It was the silence of predators lowering themselves into the grass, waiting for prey to draw close. When the silence finally broke, the galaxy trembled. The response ignites. The Dominion's forward fleet at Proxima Outpost detected the anomaly first, dozens of unidentified signatures bleeding out of warp space. Their commander dismissed it. Terran stragglers, he sneered, ordering his officers to prepare a demonstration strike. Then the stars went dark. A Terran fleet emerged in formation so vast it eclipsed the light of Proxima itself. Warships black as obsidian, engines glowing with the fury of suns. Every hull bore a single insignia, not flags, not colors, but scars, etched tallies of the colonies lost, the innocents executed, the names of the massacred. A human voice came over wideband comms. It was calm, cold, and merciless. Lesson received. Now, Dominion, it is time for the exam. Before the aliens could react, the Terran fleet opened fire. Entire squadrons of Dominion cruisers were erased in white silence, their hulls shattered before alarms could even wail. The outpost was obliterated in a single orbital strike, its towers collapsing like sand under a rising tide. The first test was graded in blood. Fury of the dreadnoughts. News spread across the galaxy like wildfire. The Dominion had provoked humanity, and humanity had answered. But the scope of our retaliation was beyond imagination. Terran dreadnoughts, monsters of steel 3 kilometers long, poured into Dominion space, their weapons rewriting the laws of siege warfare. They did not bombard planets from orbit as the Dominion had taught them. No, humans descended. They landed armies like storms, armored battalions rolling out across ash-covered landscapes. They fought not with hesitation but with precision, cutting through alien armies like surgeons wielding blades of fire. Where Dominion commanders expected hesitation, they found relentless rhythm. Where they expected fear, they found ferocity. Where they expected begging, they found silence. Grim, wordless determination as Terran soldiers carved forward. The Dominion realized too late that they had not taught us how to kill. They had merely given us permission to remember. The shattering of Kraytash's pride. Overlord Kraytash himself stood on the bridge of the Dominion flagship when the Terran fleet finally reached him. His war council was in chaos. Reports poured in of lost worlds, annihilated fleets, and cities burning under Terran assault. "This cannot be," he roared, slamming a clawed hand against the holotable. "They were untrained, untested. They should be groveling at our feet." But even as he spoke, the darkness outside his viewport split open. A Terran dreadnought emerged, its hull scarred with the names of massacred Martian settlements, its guns locked onto Kraytash's flagship. A single human voice echoed across every Dominion channel. "Class dismissed." The strike that followed was biblical. Kraytash's flagship, the pride of the Dominion, shattered into 1,000 molten fragments. The Overlord's last scream was carried into the void, drowned beneath the thunder of vengeance. The Annihilation Campaign. From that moment it was no longer a war, it was a purge. The Terran fleets advanced system by system, relentless, unstoppable. Dominion strongholds were cracked open like eggs, their defenders slaughtered with cold efficiency. Entire planets where massacres had been staged became fire pits of retribution, oceans boiled away in orbital strikes, skies filled with ash. The galaxy watched in awe and dread. No empire had ever struck with such speed, such coordination, such absolute refusal to negotiate. Humanity did not sue for peace. Humanity did not offer surrender. We came only to collect debts in blood. The Dominion tried everything: ambushes, traps, even biological plagues. Each gambit was met with silence, then overwhelming counterattack. Their fleets dwindled. Their armies crumbled. Their empire, once eternal, became a carcass torn apart under human steel. The final lesson. In the ashes of the Dominion's capital, where alien banners once flew, a single human general broadcast across the galactic network. His face was shadowed, his voice calm and absolute. "You tried to teach us how to kill. You forgot that humanity has always known. From sticks and stones to fire and steel, we have written our history in war. You thought us soft. You thought us weak. But we are patient. We learn. And once we learn, we perfect. You will never again mistake silence for surrender. You will never again provoke Earth without consequence." Across the galaxy, entire species listened in silence. Some wept. Some whispered prayers. And some, shivering in their bones, made silent vows, never provoke humanity. Resolution. Whispers in the void. When the campaign was finally over, the Dominion was gone. Not beaten, not humbled, erased. Their homeworlds were silent husks, their fleets shattered wrecks drifting in void. Survivors who escaped into exile carried stories that would never fade. Fleets blotting out suns, armies descending like storms, humans who killed not for conquest but for memory, for vengeance. In shadowed corners of cantinas and councils, whispers spread. The Terrans waited in silence, and when they struck, the stars themselves seemed to bow. Their patience is vast, but their vengeance is infinite. The galaxy, once mocking humanity, now shuddered at the thought of us. The lesson had been taught, and no one would forget it. Humanity had been underestimated, and that was the last mistake the Dominion, and perhaps the galaxy, would ever make. Epilogue: The Weight of Silence. The war drums faded, the fleets returned, but Earth spoke no more of the Dominion, no more of the vengeance, for humanity did not boast. We did not raise banners or carve monuments. We simply remembered. And in the silence that followed, the galaxy understood. There was no need for more words. Because when Earth chose silence, it was not peace. It was the calm before the storm. And storms, once unleashed, do not ask for mercy.